All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we are breaking down a really fascinating source that maps out a literal five-stage blueprint for building wealth, and it completely cuts through all that noisy, traditional, just settle for average pay narrative we hear constantly. Look, if you're young, if you're ambitious, and you're just exhausted by the standard financial advice out there, you're definitely going to want to hear this. The source material lays out a pretty harsh truth right off the bat. Society kind of wants you to just accept a normal life. You know the drill. Average pay, maybe a trip away once a year if you're super lucky, and if you dare to actually want more than that, you're suddenly made to feel greedy. But the argument here is that the current system is practically designed to keep you stuck at the bottom, while the truly wealthy are out there enjoying total freedom. So, we're going to unpack the exact five-stage process they've mapped out to escape that system and build real, tangible wealth while you're still young. If you aren't building your own dream, then someone else will hire you to build theirs. We are kicking off with this quote from the source because, wow, it just perfectly frames the stark reality of the choice you face right now. I mean, think about it. Nobody is waking up in the morning thinking, hey, how can I make you rich today? The only person who is ever going to put your success first is you. If you don't step up and pick a path, the system is absolutely going to pick one for you. And spoiler alert, that path is usually designed to keep you broke. Life is not like a multiple choice test in school where there's only one right answer. There are tons of right choices out there, but the absolute worst choice you can make? Making no choice at all just because you're scared? So, here's the roadmap the source gives us. A step-by-step financial journey. Drifting, obsession, discovery, acceleration, and finally, freedom. Each one of these is a required stepping stone. You literally can't skip one if you want to reach true financial independence. Let's just take them one by one. Stage 1, the danger of drifting. You see, most people get completely trapped right here at the baseline, and it's mostly due to this paralyzing overwhelm of choice. Should I do crypto, dropshipping, day trading? Every single day, someone on the internet is yelling at you that their specific method is the absolute fastest way to get rich. And because young people are terrified of picking the wrong path, a lot of them just freeze. They turn into what the source calls a drifter. You've got to be brutally honest with yourself for a second. Are your daily actions actually matching up with those big, ambitious goals of yours? Or are you just drifting? Drifters just kind of float from one job or side hustle to the next, crossing their fingers, hoping they'll just randomly strike it big. You'll often hear drifters say stuff like, well, money doesn't make you happy anyway. But our source points out that this is basically a narrative the rich feed the poor. The reality is, money equals freedom and freedom equals happiness. Sure, a drifter might win the lottery or get a handout one day, but they rarely build serious, lasting wealth on their own merit. Moving right along to stage 2, choosing absolute obsession. To actually escape that drifting phase, the source says you have to make a single, life-altering decision to stop letting life push you around. You have to obsess over just one thing: getting rich. And hey, if saying that out loud makes you cringe a little bit, the source suggests you might actually need to rewire how you think about money. There is absolutely nothing shameful about wanting the mechanism to live life entirely on your own terms. But here's the catch. You can't be arrogant about it. You can't split your focus across a dozen different goals. I see so many young people claiming they want to be rich, but they also want to learn to play the guitar, run a marathon, and become fluent in French all at the exact same time. It's like a buddy telling you they're going to be a pro footballer, but they're also pursuing 12 other totally unrelated careers. You'd laugh at them, right? Becoming rich is an elite achievement. Only a tiny percentage of the population will ever actually do it. So you absolutely must lock in with 100% laser focus in those early years if you want to succeed. Okay, stage 3, the discovery cheat code. So once you are truly obsessed, you need a vehicle to actually provide value to the world. Why? Because you get paid in direct proportion to your value. If you aren't rich yet, well, it's simply because you currently lack value in the marketplace. But, and this is a huge but, the source points out that you don't need to go out and invent the next revolutionary crypto coin. You really don't. You just need to discover an existing, proven pathway. Things like video editing, drop shipping, short-form content, running an eBay store, and just master it. All you have to do is look around, find something that is already working right now for a bunch of people, and figure out how you can do it too. Finding someone who is already a few steps ahead of you and just uncovering their proven pathway is literally the fastest way to master a high-income skill. The source shares this fantastic little anecdote to illustrate this. Back in his 20s, he took a Saturday job in a radio-controlled model shop. Now, he didn't do it for the minimum wage cash. He did it to uncover the exact blueprint of a successful business. He didn't just blindly go open his own shop and hope for the best. He worked there on weekends and acted like an absolute sponge. He asked a million questions, chatted with every customer, and most importantly, he took mental notes on what was holding those customers back. He spent his Sundays figuring out exactly what people actually wanted from a local shop. Now, obviously, you might not want to open a model shop, but the core principle here is identical for literally any high-income skill you want to learn. Finding mentors or just uncovering the daily routines of young people who are already making, say, over 100 grand a year in profit, that acts as a literal cheat code. It lets you skip years of painful mistakes. When you find someone who has already achieved the exact thing you want to do, you suddenly have access to a blueprint. And listen, these don't need to be famous influencers with massive personal brands. Actually, it's way better if they aren't. It's better if their money comes purely from their raw, undeniable skills. You can find these people in Discord communities, deep in Instagram niches, or even just networking at local sports clubs. Which brings us to stage 4, accelerating through the grind. Because once you have that pathway, you have to actually execute. And here is the tough pill to swallow. You have to be willing to be terrible at first. You just do. Launch that first clunky Shopify store. Do some free work just to get the reps in if you're offering a service. Before you can be great, you have to embrace being bad. And as you execute and really start to grind, the source warns that you're going to enter what wealthy people refer to as the lonely chapter. It's this incredibly strange middle ground where you're suddenly disconnected from your old friends, but you aren't quite successful enough yet to meet the new ones. It is brutal. As your ambitions completely outgrow your childhood friends, you're going to feel that disconnect. But since you haven't made it yet, you can't easily rub shoulders with those highly successful people you look up to either. So how do you actually survive this isolating phase? Well, you need a few core tactics. It's a lot like the story of the source's son, who actually skipped university entirely just to relentlessly grind at videography, totally alone for years. The sources talks about how teenagers will often claim, "Oh, I'm making these amazing YouTube videos, but the algorithm just hates me." But why do they think their videos are so great? Because they're only asking their friends and family for feedback, and those people love them. They don't want to hurt their feelings. Plus, they probably don't even have the expertise to give actual useful critique anyway. You need constant, harsh, constructive criticism from outside your little bubble. It takes a crazy amount of dedication to put your head down, take that tough feedback on the chin, pivot when you're wrong, and just grind it out completely alone. This lonely chapter? This is exactly the spot where 99% of people give up and slip right back into being average. But if you make it through, you hit stage 5, true financial freedom. Reaching the point where all that lonely hard work finally pays off is an unbelievable feeling. But the source throws up a massive warning sign here. There is a huge psychological trap waiting at the finish line. And it comes down to the stark contrast between being merely rich and being truly wealthy. When you start making real life-changing money, you basically have two choices. You can blow it all on flashy cars, designer clothes, and luxury vacations just to look cool on Instagram. Or you can take a decent percentage of it and aggressively reinvest it to build true generational wealth. Listen, truly wealthy people are never, ever impressed by a young person blowing all their new cash. They look at that and just feel disappointed because they know exactly how much more that person could have achieved if they had just reinvested it into multiple income streams, index funds, or sharpening their skills even further. It is such a tragic reality that so many people will happily drop $1,000 on the brand new iPhone without even blinking. But the second you suggest they reinvest $200 into their own education or a new course, they completely freeze up. Most people never make that crucial shift from being rich to being wealthy because they blow their capital on all the wrong things. Every single dollar you spend today on meaningless stuff just to impress other people is literally a dollar you are stealing from your future self. And that brings us to the ultimate twist of this entire explainer. The highest return on investment you will ever get in your entire life isn't from an S&P 500 index fund. It's not from flipping real estate. It's from the skills you build inside your own head. You are the ultimate asset. You are the only asset you're guaranteed to hold for your entire life. The skills you develop, they compound exactly the same way money does in a bank account. That is why, even after they reach total financial freedom, the truly wealthy still spend a couple of hours every single day just learning. They read, they study, they join high-level communities, they never stop leveling up. So I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative question to help you evaluate exactly where you are right now on your own journey. Are you spending to impress, or are you investing to grow? Are you still drifting at the starting line? Are you deep in the trenches of the lonely chapter? Or are you finally making some money but maybe falling into that trap of spending it all just to look successful? Take a really hard look at your choices today because those exact choices are actively building your tomorrow. Thanks so much for diving into this explainer with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.